Today I am so excited to share with you one of my favorite dishes, Asian lettuce wraps. And these are so delicious, so nutritious, and you know exactly what's going into it. Plus, it's a lot cheaper than what you would pay for if you went to an Asian restaurant. So what this recipe is also going to be is all plant-based. You're not going to have chicken or fish or anything like that in it, so it's super nutritious. Okay, what I'm going to be using is a soy sauce alternative called Bragg's Liquid Aminos. You can get this at your health food store or regular grocery store, but why I love it is because it doesn't have MSG, and we're really trying to get rid of that from our diet. We're going to use a little bit of our sesame seed oil, and this is really great too because it's going to give us that Asian flair that we're looking for. I love Bill's Best Chickenish seasoning, but you could use McKay's. You could make your own. You could use just any kind of chicken-ish based seasoning that's, of course, plant-based. And the things we're going to add to it is going to be this sprouted tofu. Do you have to use sprouted tofu? No, but I love it because of the texture. It's really firm, and it also, a lot of people who have problems with soy. It might be because the phytic acid in soy and it's hard for you to digest. Well, the sprouted tofu is great because it doesn't have that phytic acid. You could also get a baked tofu. And if you want to learn more about tofu, go ahead to our website and you can find information on the different types of tofu, how to use them. And so visit us there for more information. I'm going to add any kind of vegetable you can think of. So I love asparagus. I'm going to add some ginger. I love, of course, garlic, some mushrooms, some red onion, some celery, some green onion, and then we're also going to add these water chestnuts, which are really great, and they're going to give us a nice flavor. Also, the lettuce that I like to use is a butter lettuce because it's really pliable. This lettuce is really cool too because it has its roots still intact. You can get this at the grocery store, but any lettuce that you like, you can do. Big leaf lettuce is going to work best for you. So we're going to add all this to our skillet, and then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to assemble it on our lettuce wrap, if you will. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to start with is my Bragg's Liquid Aminos. I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of tablespoons of that to my dish. And I'm going to go ahead and add my sesame oil, just a few drops there, maybe a quarter of a teaspoon of that. And then I'm going to go ahead and do my tofu. I'm going to cut these up into little squares. Get that going. It's really simple to do. Just start with your tofu, kind of make little squares from your cuts, and then we're just going to cube it. And again, this is the sprouted tofu. It's super firm. It does come packed in water, so you do want to drain it, but since we're going to be cooking this, you don't have to worry too much about the water in this dish. Now, a silken tofu definitely wouldn't work for this dish because it would all crumble up and not stay well intact. And I'm actually going to add a little bit of water to this as well. And all of the flavors here in the studio are smelling so good. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to add the rest of my tofu. I have this in a skillet at about 325. You could do this on the stove, just on medium heat, but you just want to make sure that it's nice and hot before you start anything. So I'm going to add about a tablespoon of my chickenish seasoning, get that started. And then the next thing I'm going to add is my green onion. And the way you do it in the green onion, you just cut off your little root system. And I like to refresh the ends of the green onion. Sometimes they get a little wilted and you don't want that. So then you just go ahead and you can use the whole, I'm using 2 green onions for this recipe. Of course, any amount, you know, if you wanted more, go for it. But I like the green onion there. We're gonna add that in. I'm going to add my water chestnuts. You can get these at the Asian store. They come in a can. I'm going to go ahead and do my mushrooms. I love shiitake mushrooms. These are button mushrooms. You can use any kind of mushroom for this dish. But mushrooms are really high in vitamin D. Did you know that? It's really healthy. We need vitamin D. Vitamin D comes from the sun. We can get it there. We can also get it from different foods. But in a plant-based diet, it's harder to find, but not with mushrooms. And these mushrooms are gorgeous. And I'm going to go ahead and cut up my celery too. Did you know that celery is one of the most important ingredients to add to your diet if you want, believe it or not, to get rid of inflammation? Yeah, celery is a great one. And it's wonderful too because it has natural sodium in it. So if you're trying to avoid sodium, Celery would be one that you still could add to your diet because it has so many other nutrients involved with it. So, and you're gonna get that same salt kind of taste, but you're not gonna have the sodium like regular salt. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get this going. We'll add that. I'm gonna give this a little stir. All right, so what else should we add? You could add some nice carrots to this dish and that would give it a nice color. You could make a rainbow of flavors, just add some carrots, some red bell pepper. You could add some purple cabbage. Zucchini would be nice. So just feel free to add anything that you think you'd want inside this dish. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna add is I'm gonna go ahead and add some of asparagus. And asparagus is really good for you. One way to tell if asparagus is ready when you buy it in the store is just give it a snap. You're gonna discard the end that doesn't have, that didn't break off naturally. And that's how you avoid it being too woody. So I'm just gonna take my asparagus and where it naturally breaks is the place that I'm gonna use. Okay, so then I'm just gonna take my asparagus and I'm gonna go ahead and just chop that up into small little bite-sized pieces. Right. I'm gonna add a little bit more water here. If you notice, we're really not using any oil in this dish except for a little bit of sesame oil. So you're gonna wanna make sure to get this nice and steamed, add your water. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna go ahead and add is my garlic. Okay, I'm gonna take my garlic clove and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna tap it so that I get all the peeling off of it. It's a really fast way to peel your garlic without having to spend a lot of time messing with the skin. Okay, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna mince it. Put that in. You could also grate garlic, which is an easy way too. I'm gonna show you how to grate some ginger, so you could grate garlic and that's fast. Put that in there. Okay, so ginger, I love this, is a wonderful root. Ginger's really good for inflammation in the body. It's also really nice for digestion. And the way I use it is I just go ahead and peel the ginger. So I've de-skinned it. And now with just my grater, or you can even use a microplane, however you want to use it, I'm just gonna go ahead and grate the garlic. I'm looking for about 1/2 tablespoon. And that's about right. Okay, maybe a little bit more here. And a little bit more garlic. Okay, so there we go. Now I'm gonna just stir all this up. And we're gonna let all these flavors marinate. And the last thing I'm gonna add is gonna be my red onion. Just take your onion without peeling it. And you're gonna just cut down the middle of it. And then you have two sides that are really great to use. I'm gonna cut between this where the root system is, I'm gonna cut that in half. And now I'm gonna go ahead and peel back that first layer. And I'm gonna go ahead now and follow the lines of this onion as I turn it on its tummy there. I'm just gonna follow the lines of it. And that's gonna give me the size of my cubes when I dice this. So depending on how thin or thick you want them, it's gonna determine your cube size. Okay, so now I'm just gonna go ahead and take my knife through those slices, and I have perfect little dices for my onion, and those will all separate really nicely. So you can see this beautiful rainbow that we have of color. Okay, so I'm ready to assemble my lettuce wrap. All my stir fry here is beautiful. You know, you could take these water chestnuts too and cut them up a little bit smaller if you want. I like more of a crunch and a big water chestnut, so feel free. And again, you can get these water chestnuts in your grocery store. In the Asian aisle, a lot of grocery stores now have their little Asian aisle. So think of all the ingredients that I showed you today, you can just get them in your regular grocery store. Including this. This is butter lettuce, and I love this lettuce because it literally has the root system on it. You can get this at your grocery store, or just use any kind of lettuce leaf that you want. I like this one. It needs to be washed, so just pick off a couple of the leaves here. And these make perfect little wraps. They're so pliable and I love them. And I just give them a nice little rinse to freshen them up, and then just kind of, you know, pat them dry a little bit here. And there you go, they make perfect little wraps. I'm gonna fill this with my filling here. And this makes a really great dish. You know, make this for your kids, let them participate, they'll love it. So I like to do a couple wraps here when I'm eating this. Even, you know, most of this is vegetables. In fact, all of it is vegetables. I don't know why I said most of it. So feel free to enjoy a few of these for dinner or for lunch and have a wonderful Asian meal.